If you want to visit the Dominican Republic, you're going to want to listen up. Here's a 30-second teaser of the episode.
The national tourist slogan is República Dominicana lo tiene todo. And essentially that translates to the Dominican Republic has it all. I was living in the Dominican Republic for almost a couple of years as a single mom with a 4-year-old at the time. And I never felt unsafe. So my favorite beach where I would just get lost in for hours and hours each day. It's a little beach called Playa Bibijagua, and I just felt like I was transported to a different world.
Welcome, everybody. My name is Betty Hurd, and I'm your host for the Travel Loving Podcast, where we talk to the experts about incredible destinations around the world, with the goal of always making you a better traveler. My guest today currently lives in Boston, Massachusetts, but spent several years in the Dominican Republic and calls it her second home. She's a mom, a yogi, and she's going to cover everything you need to know about visiting Dominican Republic. Welcome to the show, Claudicet Peña.
Thanks, Betty. I'm very excited to be here. I've been a contributing writer for Travel Lemon for about 2 years now, and like you said, I am currently based in Boston. I am a mommy. I have a 10-year-old daughter, and we're just kind of living a very vibrant lifestyle. So we love to travel, create, we enjoy eating good food, and immersing ourselves in art and culture. So I'm really excited to share little tidbits of Santo Domingo.
Me too. Me too. I love seeing your adventures with your daughter. And it's so wonderful to have you back so soon. I know Claudicet and Laura McFarland recently recorded an episode on Boston, where she's based. So check that out after this episode. We also saw Claudicet at the very beginning of the year discussing Cabrera, Dominican Republic, which landed a spot on our list of the top 50 places to travel in 2025. So even though we're halfway through the year, it's never too late to check out that episode to get some inspiration for the rest of 2025. So, Claudicet, tell us more about your experience in Dominican Republic. What makes you an expert?
Yeah, so I am Dominican American. My parents were born and raised in the Dominican Republic, although I was born and raised here in the States. The Dominican culture was very present at home, so Spanish was my first language, and I was raised with lots of Dominican traditions. So from traditional dishes like mango, which is mashed plantains, to traditional music such as merengue, and everything in between. So growing up, I've traveled to the Dominican Republic a handful of times to spend time with family. And finally, in 2018, I kind of just found myself living abroad there. I did decide to come back to the United States in 2020 once the pandemic hit. But, sometimes I do wonder if it weren't for the pandemic, I might, still very much be living there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, maybe in the future you might be going back one of these
Who
days,
knows?
possibly. Why should somebody travel to the Dominican Republic?
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want to travel to the Dominican Republic? The national tourist slogan is República Dominicana lo tiene todo. And essentially that translates to the Dominican Republic has it all. And after living there for nearly 2 years, I can testify to that slogan. It is globally recognized as a prime Caribbean getaway. So you have everything from lively culture to rich history, diverse landscapes. So I'm not just talking pristine beaches, but I'm talking lush green mountains and even like sand desert dunes.
That's awesome. I love that slogan. I didn't hear that before. I've only been one time for 24 hours. So clearly I don't have too much to contribute on this, but I'm so excited to hear all of this that you have to tell us in this episode. Can you describe where the Dominican Republic is located on a map so listeners can kind of picture it?
Yeah, the Dominican Republic is located in the Caribbean. So it takes up about 2/3 of the island of Hispaniola, and it shares that island with Haiti, which is located on the west. It also has maritime borders with Cuba, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, and the Bahamas.
Okay, so it's one island, two
Yes.
countries, Haiti to the
Yes.
west, Dominican Republic to the east,
To
and
the
then
east.
east of that is the island territory of Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
And then east of that is the US and British Virgin Islands, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Yes.
like lots of major travel destinations within just a few hundred miles of each other, which I think is a testament to the draw of the Caribbean.
Definitely. And what's really cool is you can actually take a ferry out of the port of Santo Domingo over to Puerto Rico, which is
Oh,
really fun. Yeah, a fun
oh,
way
that
to
is
travel there.
awesome. what are the best things to do in the Dominican Republic?
I believe that the Dominican Republic has so much to offer no matter what your interests are as a traveler. So you can dabble into that resort life. You can also splash around on the beaches, explore some mountain areas, and take in the history, the culture, and the delicious cuisine. One of my favorite things to do when I'm there visiting family and spending time on the island is to eat and drink. So you
Great.
can't, yeah, you really can't visit without trying the food. I love to indulge in the tropical fruits. So the pineapple there, especially, is just more vibrant in color and juicier and sweeter. My daughter loves the fried plantains, and you can also enjoy fresh fish that's caught right from the waters off of the beaches, which is a really like nice treat. I think that travelers should definitely take in Dominican Republic's rich history. I know that when people think of the Dominican Republic, they don't necessarily think of history, they think of beaches and resorts. But the capital, which is Santo Domingo, has a historic center that's covered in colonial architecture from the 1500s. And so that's where I spent a lot of my time when I was in Santo Domingo living there. And, of course, you can always go beach hopping. That's a given. So no matter where you lay your beach towel, you're bound to be surrounded by just natural beauty and pristine waters. Dominican Republic also has a lot of outdoor adventure. So you can explore hiking trails in the mountains, check out the waterfalls, explore caves and blue lagoons. That you can even go whale watching in Samaná, which is really special because they have their babies there.
Oh my gosh, that sounds
Yeah,
incredible.
so you get to see the mamas and their babies kind of just playing around and splashing around in the water.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Do you have any favorite beaches that you can name just off the top of your head?
So my favorite beach where I would just get lost in for hours and hours each day. My daughter and I went there quite frequently. It's a little beach called Playa Bibijagua, and it's in Bávaro, and Bávaro, a neighboring little town of Punta Cana. And every time that I was there, it might be a little more crowded now, but when I was living there, it wasn't crowded with tourists. And I just felt like I was transported to a different world. So in a way, I didn't feel like I was in Punta Cana or Dominican Republic. It was very peaceful. It was like a little oasis.
I love that. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
So, of all of these things that you've mentioned, what are your top 5 attractions in Dominican Republic?
I am a nerd. So I love everything that's history and art. Again, I'm always boasting about La Zona Colonial, which is the historic center in Santo Domingo, the capital of Dominican Republic. And it has truly grown over the years. It's become a lot more popular as a destination for tourists. And it's a great area for first time visitors. So, just walking down the cobblestone streets, you're taken straight back to the 1500s. It is the oldest city in the Americas, which is a cool fun fact. And now it's just like a great hangout spot to meet with family and friends. There's lots of restaurants, cafes, bars, art galleries, and different historic attractions. And it's all within walking distance. So you can just walk from one spot to the next. And it just kind of always offered me a sweet escape from the busyness of Santo Domingo. So it's just a nice little, yeah, like a little peaceful retreat. See, the Dominican Republic is also known globally as the resort capital of the world. So primarily it's because it is home to Punta Cana. And this area is located in the eastern point of the island. It is a top vacation destination for tourists and even for locals. So on holidays, they'll head to Punta Cana for, a long weekend or something like that. There is an abundance of resorts to choose from there. So it's a great place for relaxation, but also a lot of luxe, all-inclusive resorts. And Punta Cana is home to pristine beaches, so there's plenty of natural beauty surrounding the waters and lots of fun water activities to do for the entire family. So we did a little bit of snorkeling, my daughter and I, while we were there, and just a ton of options to kind of go through. Another favorite destination for me and for locals is Samaná. It's a small little beach town and is known for its natural beauty and its ecotourism. One of the main attractions in Samaná is the whale watching, like I had mentioned earlier. So humpback whales travel to the warm waters of Samaná each year, and they give birth to their calves there. And a fun fact is that I do live in Massachusetts, so I'm a Massachusetts local, and I've been whale watching a few times here, which is very magical. So the same humpback whales that I get to see here at home during the summer months are the same exact whales that are found in Samaná. So they travel from the Dominican
Wow.
Republic. I know they travel from DR and live in the warm waters of Samaná, and then they come back up here for the summer.
That's so cool. So you've potentially seen the same exact whales in
Yes.
Boston that you've seen in
Yes.
Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty wild.
Yeah. So they're usually in DR between January and March, and then they're up in Massachusetts during the summer months of June, maybe through September.
Very cool.
So another great destination to check out is Puerto Plata. It offers a great taste of the diverse terrain that's found in the Dominican Republic. Puerto Plata is a city and province that's located in the northern part of Dominican Republic. It's established at the base of, I'm going to butcher this, but Cordillera Septen something mountains.
It sounded good to start.
I started off strong and then fell off. But it is located at the base of the mountain area there. So you can hop on a teleférico cable cars and you could take that at the top of Mount Isabel de Torres. And you get a bird's eye view of the coastline, the sea, the mountains, the beaches, the village. It's a lot of fun to kind of get that perspective from an aerial view. And if you can, I think that you should experience La Romana. It's an affluent and secluded neighborhood located right between Santo Domingo and Punta Cana. It's the country's most coveted and luxurious beach destination. It's away from all of the noise. I love making a pit stop here when I drive from the capital, from Santo Domingo up to Punta Cana. It's known to host luxurious events, special occasions, and it has large conventions at its large, all-inclusive beachfront resorts. So while in La Romana, I think that you should definitely experience Casa de Campo's golf course if you're into golfing. There's nothing like getting a hole-in-one by the sea at the world-renowned golf course in Casa de Campo Resort and Villas.
Yeah, so many incredible things to do in Dominican Republic. And listeners, I hope you've been taking notes. But of course, I just want to let everyone know too that Claudicet has written so many different guides on travel lemmings. So if you want to check those out after this, you can do a deeper dive into everything that she's discussing. Things to do, places to stay, restaurants, you name it, so many different guides. So you can go back and look into all the details of these things that she's mentioned here today on the podcast. All right, moving right along. Are there any hidden gems that visitors might miss without your local insight?
Yeah, I think one that caught me by surprise is the Barrio Chino food market. So it's an eclectic street market that takes place on Sunday mornings and it oozes with culture. So Barrio Chino is Santo Domingo's Chinatown and it's located north of La Zona Colonial. Locals swarm to this market mainly for the fresh foods. I, however, indulged in a selection of Asian treats such as dragon fruit smoothies, Chinese bao buns, and other yummy snacks. I recommend this food market. It's just such a beautiful representation of the Asian communities that live in the Caribbean, and you get to kind of see both cultures collide, which was really fascinating for me to see that take place like in action in front of me, which was really, really cool.
I love that. And speaking of the population there, is it a pretty diverse population or like is it mainly Dominicans who live in Dominican Republic? If you could give a little bit of insight on that.
Yeah, I want to say it is mainly Dominicans who live in the Dominican Republic, depending on the area that you're in. So the capital, again, blown away. It's so compact, but I heard so many different languages being spoken. So there's a big Asian community in Santo Domingo. I met a lot of expats from Canada, from France, from Italy, especially. And if you are out exploring some beach destinations like Samaná and Punta Cana, you will run into a lot of expats, especially from Europe. They kind of settle in these areas because it is mostly one of the safer areas in the Dominican Republic. And also, they have access to the beautiful, pristine beaches. They're looking for a different quality of life, slower pace island living, and that definitely provides it for them. Punta Cana is known for its resort life, like across the board. However, I was surprised to find out that there are plenty of opportunities for outdoor adventure there. So definitely check out Skate Park. It's a natural theme park that offers exciting attractions like ziplining through the jungle. There's also Cavas de las Maravillas. It's an awesome little cave expedition. I loved going there with my daughter. We learned about the ancient paintings within the caves that were made by the indigenous Tainos. Another favorite pit stop to Punta Cana is Altos de Chabón. It's located inside of La Romana, so that exclusive, secluded neighborhood. It is a replica of a Mediterranean village, and it's perched right over Rio de Chavon. It offers beautiful riverfront terraces, restaurants, shopping, and even an outdoor amphitheater. So it's a perfect setting for a series of photos to be taken. It is also a very popular venue for weddings. And those not staying at the property in La Romana can still access Altos de Chabón for free. So if you have a reservation at one of the restaurants on site, you could just bring your passport and identification and present it to the security guards, and they would happily let you in.
I really appreciate getting your perspective too as a mom, because I feel like a lot of people who are traveling to, these resort destinations are traveling with their families. And so it's good
Mhm.
to get your insight for all these family friendly activities as well as the outdoor activities and beyond. So thank you.
Yeah, especially, yeah, of course. And especially to kind of get out of the resort and see a little more of the country and the history and the culture. It's nice to see what there is that can kind of expose your children to more of, the world out there.
Right. And there's always so much more to a resort destination than just staying at a hotel the whole time.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there any special etiquette visitors should know before visiting Dominican Republic?
I would suggest that visitors practice and brush up on their Spanish while visiting the Dominican Republic. Spanish is the national language that's spoken in the country. English is spoken in common tourist areas, so such as Punta Cana and maybe even Samaná and the capital, but you shouldn't assume that English is spoken everywhere throughout the country. Another tip is to not consume the tap water in the Dominican Republic, so drink bottled water only. Most hotels and resorts do provide bottled water in your room each day, which is nice to have, but definitely stay away from drinking the tap water in DR. And it is highly recommended that you exercise some caution and be aware of your surroundings while you're in the Dominican Republic, especially if you're walking. So don't leave your items unattended, especially at the beach, as there could be potential petty theft. And also arrange your transportation in advance. You can have transportation arranged by your hotel, or you could book an Uber where it is available. I, again, single mom living in the Dominican Republic, I never felt like I was in danger, but I was also very cautious and aware of my surroundings. Lastly, I would recommend that you have a little bit of patience during your visit in the Dominican Republic. No one is in a rush in DR. It's the island life is so much slower, so just remind yourself to go with the flow. If you need to be attended at a restaurant, do not hesitate to kind of grab the attention of your server, and they'd be totally happy to assist you.
Gotta adjust to island time.
Yes.
I love it.
You can easily spend 2 to 3 hours at a restaurant.
Really? Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it's so interesting because so many people in the US, especially I feel like East Coast living, it's like everyone's
Mhm.
so go, go, go. And it's
Mhm.
really almost like impossible to adjust to that on a short
Yeah.
trip when you get somewhere like that, where it's like, oh my God, I've never experienced like easy, slow living like this. And
Yes.
so it's kind of funny that you go somewhere to relax and it's like, I don't know how to relax, but it comes in time.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time kind of adjusting being back in the States, especially in the Northeast, because it is, go, go, go on to the next. So when
Right.
I'm at a restaurant, I feel rushed and I don't like it.
I
And
know
I'm
they
like,
want
I'm
you in
not
and out.
done yet. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Exactly.
want to hang out. Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
it's very different.
So, moving right along, where is the best place to stay for someone's first visit to the Dominican Republic?
I think I'm a little biased, but I think Santo Domingo is an excellent destination to immerse yourself in the culture. So it is the city that I got to call home while I lived in the Dominican Republic, and the capital of DR is just a super vibrant metropolitan area. It is compact, it's located in the middle of the country, and it just brims with city life and Dominican culture. So the streets are lively, swarming with cars, with motos, with street food vendors. There's music all around. The restaurants are full. There's a lot of cultural institutions to check out. Again, the history there is incredible.
And you have guides on Santo Domingo, correct? On Travel
Yeah.
Lemming? Right.
Yep. I have
So,
guides of Santo Domingo and like the best neighborhoods to stay in and to hang out in. And there's even things to do in Santo Domingo. So you can check out what places to see and things to do, where to eat. So there's a lot there. It's such a
perfect.
small little city.
I know. Well, and it's tough we can't cover all these things in depth on the podcast, and I wish that we
Hmm.
could. But yeah, definitely check out those guides after this. And Santo Domingo is where I was for my 24-hour layover. For those who don't know, I'm a flight attendant. So I remember seeing the colonial buildings. I was surprised for some reason. I think that I thought that Dominican Republic was just going to be full of like these very like beachy little towns and
Yeah,
not have like a major city vibe. And it was just bustling with life and so many
it really
restaurants and
does.
people, and they were so kind. And even though it was such a short stay, I remember enjoying it so much.
Yeah, the people are very warm, just very colorful as well.
Hmm.
So I really do miss that warmth of the people there in the Dominican Republic and
I
the
bet.
capital. And, like you said, that Santo Domingo is bustling with life, and it doesn't matter what day of the week it is. All the restaurants are full. Everyone's going out,
Hmm.
everyone's enjoying just each other's company and experiences and quality time together.
Yeah, it seemed like a very strong community.
Definitely. Another popular destination in the Dominican Republic for tourists, of course, is Punta Cana. So just the mention of Dominican Republic usually triggers the thought of Punta Cana. And this area is located on the eastern point of the island, and it is the resort hub of DR. So there's a lot of activities there. There's restaurants, nightclubs. The bars are limitless, especially inside the hotels and resorts. So it makes it just very convenient to enjoy the best of resort life. And then another area for first time visitors is the Samaná Peninsula. It's located in the eastern region of the Dominican Republic, and it's sprinkled with small boho chic boutique hotels. Las Terrenas is my favorite place to visit in Samaná. It's a dreamy little beach village, and there's plenty of little cafes and bistros and bars and lounges. You have the views of like the best sunsets ever. And it's another safe area for tourists to kind of like walk around on foot or hop on a moto to get from here to there. And Samana is a complete contrast to the luxury resorts found in Punta Cana, but it offers like just a sweet little oasis.
Is there an area that you recommend for budget travelers in Dominican Republic?
I would say check out Samana. I think you could find some budget friendly options there.
What are prices like in Dominican Republic? Just so people can kind of get an idea for what they might need to set aside for a vacation there.
So in Santo Domingo, this was back while I was living in the Dominican Republic. So I'm not quite sure what the prices are now because when I go travel now, I just stay with family.
Right.
I did stay at an Airbnb back in 2019, and the Airbnb's in a beautiful luxury torre is what they call it, like a condo building with concierge and security and amenities like a pool or rooftop area. I believe I paid about $59 a night, and it was for a two
Wow.
bedroom space. So I
Oh
think
my
it's,
gosh.
yeah, it's relatively cheap compared to like an Airbnb in the United States, which can run like a couple $100 a night,
Yeah. I
depending where you're
mean,
staying. Yeah.
yeah, even if that was 2019, I mean, $59 in 2019 is still going to be substantially cheaper even with inflation 6 years later. So
Yeah.
not too bad. Not too
Not too
bad.
shabby. And that's like,
Yeah.
in the capital. So you can find cheaper rates outside of the capital. So another area that's great for budget travelers also in Santo Domingo is La Zona Universitaria. It's the educational hub of the capital. So it is an up and coming neighborhood. It has a vibrant cultural atmosphere. This area does cater to a younger crowd. So we're talking about like students who go and study in the area. So there's a dynamic cultural scene and a lot of student-oriented options. So things that like accessible to public transportation, dining, cafes, accommodations, and more. So that area would probably offer more budget-friendly options for budget travelers. And Bávaro is located in La Altagracia zone, so it does neighbor Punta Cana. It's one of my favorite areas to stay in because the location offers easy access to so many attractions. So not just the beaches like Playa Bibijagua, but there's also excursions, shopping, a movie theater, restaurants, bars. A very popular nightclub is there called Cocobongo. And there are plenty of options for accommodations in Bávaro. So again, not just like little hotels, but there's also a lot of Airbnbs that you can find for cheaper rates. And I think there are cheaper rates in that area because many of the resort workers live in this town and then they go work at the hotel neighboring. And then, of course, Cabarete, like I had mentioned earlier, it's about a 30-minute drive from Las Tarrinas in Samaná, and it's located on the northeast coast of the Dominican Republic. So it is a small, laid-back beach town, It's known for having the best winds and tides for water sports, so like windsurfing, kiteboarding, and surfing as well. And they have a variety of accommodations that are very well priced for those who are looking for budget-friendly options.
Wonderful. Are there any other
Mhm.
notable places that you haven't mentioned yet?
I think an area in the Dominican Republic that's worth mentioning is Jarabacoa. When I visited, I immediately fell in love with this area. It is a complete contrast to the oceanside resorts of Punta Cana. Jarabacoa has cooler temperatures and it's lush with green mountains. It's loved by locals for its natural beauty and mainly for its tranquility. Jarabacoa is in the central mountain range of La Vega Valley, and it has no shortage of outdoor activities, so adventure seekers will definitely appreciate Rio Yaque del Norte. It's the longest river in the country, and there's so much to do along this river. So there's whitewater rafting, there's four-wheel driving, mountain biking, zip lining, and even so much more. You can even hike through this area to again, I'm going to butcher this, Santo de Baigate waterfall. It's a very, very popular and beautiful waterfall, and the hike there friendly for all levels experience.
I had no idea that there was whitewater rafting in Dominican Republic. I didn't
Yeah,
even know that there were mountains that were that big too.
yeah. So again, Dominican Republic has it all. So it has the beaches, but it also has the mountain areas. And yeah, there's hiking, there's waterfalls, there's whitewater rafting, four-wheel drive, all of
That's
the
amazing.
fun things for those who are looking for a little thrill. Yeah. Let's see. Another tranquil destination in the Dominican Republic is Cabrera. It's located on the north coast of the country, and it's a true gem for nature lovers and beach enthusiasts and those looking for more relaxation. I have family who live in Cabrera, and they love this charming town because it offers all of the laid back, authentic Dominican vibes. There's no tourists and no crowds of Punta Cana. So you can get the experience of a traditional Dominican hospitality, and of course, the food there is incredible. Cabrera is a peaceful little oasis. It's surrounded by lush tropical vegetation, and it has the most stunning ocean views. Playa Preciosa is our family favorite. Adventure seekers can hike and swim in the cascading waterfalls nearby at Salto da Mahagua.
I remember you telling me about Cabrera when I interviewed you briefly for the best places to travel in 2025
Mhm.
list. And
Mhm.
the thing that had stuck out to me the most was you talking about the hospitality. I mean, I just think the most important thing when you're traveling to a new place is the people. And it just makes me want to visit so badly because you always are talking about how kind they are in their hospitality.
They really are. A story or an experience, I should say, that has stuck with me is when I was driving to Jarabacoa. We had made a little pit stop. There was a woman selling mangoes in a little bucket because she had a mango tree right over her home. So she collected all the mangoes, put them in a little bucket, and was selling them. So we pulled over, bought some mangoes from her, and just started conversation. And she invited us into her home. So we went into her home and she made coffee for us and introduced us to her sons. And like, we just hung out and had coffee. And it was the most beautiful experience I had. And it's just another example of how warm the people are there. Especially the coffee part, it's such an integral part of our culture. It's almost like a love language. So if someone invites you into their home and brews coffee, it's just a really, really sweet, kind gesture of love.
Oh my gosh, that is so
Yeah.
wonderful, and I feel like those are the experiences that are more unforgettable than any major excursion that you can plan and pay all
Mhm.
this money for.
Definitely.
That's awesome. So we've talked about all these things to do and places to stay in Dominican Republic,
Mhm.
and that comes with the topic of things to look out for and maybe even places to avoid. So let's talk safety. Is the Dominican Republic safe, and what should travelers be on the lookout for when they visit?
Yeah, again, I was living in the Dominican Republic for almost a couple years as a single mom with a 4-year-old at the time, and I never felt unsafe. I think that Dominican Republic is safe, but just like every country and every major city, the Dominican Republic and Santo Domingo have some areas that are more favorable than others. It is important that you practice precaution, especially with your personal belongings. So, for example, you shouldn't leave your items unattended at the beach, as there have been a few cases of petty theft, especially smartphones. And Punta Cana and its surrounding areas are very safe for tourists and for other visitors. So, as well as parts of Santo Domingo, especially La Zona Colonial and Las Terrenas in Samaná. They're doing a great job with providing more security in that area so that way the tourists can feel safer walking around.
Yeah, all good things to note for a safe trip to Dominican Republic. Thank you for
Hmm.
that.
Of course.
Now, when should people visit the Dominican Republic?
Yeah, I think that one of the best things about the Dominican Republic is that there is tropical warm weather all year long. So the average temperatures range from about 77 degrees Fahrenheit in the winter to about 88 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer, maybe a little warmer in the summer as well. November to April is considered the dry season in the Dominican Republic, so there is very little rainfall and the weather conditions are more pleasant. So, and it stays pretty consistent as well. This season is ideal for those who are planning to fill their itinerary with outdoor fun and, lots of beach hopping and activities on the water.
So, not much fluctuation with temperature, but you recommend the dry season.
For sure,
Yeah,
especially if you want to enjoy the outdoor activities that the Dominican Republic offers without that added weight of the humidity.
gotcha.
May to October is the rainy season in the Dominican Republic, so there is more humidity and lots more frequent rainfall. The weather conditions tend to be more unpredictable, so some days there's prolonged rain, and other days is just like a short afternoon shower, and then there are some dry days, so it kind of goes up and down, and you don't know whether to pack an umbrella or not. It's kind of like New England weather.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And June to November is considered the hurricane season in the Dominican Republic, so the country is more vulnerable to tropical storms that form in the Atlantic Ocean during the season. So if you are traveling during the season, I would suggest that you get some travel insurance for your trip.
And how much time do you recommend for the ideal visit?
I think the minimum time that you should spend in the Dominican Republic is 3 days. 3 days can be enough to visit the DR, but you will need to make those days limited to a specific region or a specific activity. So if you're interested in culture and history, spend a few days in Santo Domingo. If you want to unwind, swim, and enjoy water sports, then spend a few days in the Dominican Republic. However, I do recommend that you spend more than 3 days so that way you can see more of the country and, everything that it has to offer.
Absolutely. So, to
Mhm.
maximize your time there, what are the best ways to navigate the Dominican Republic?
There are so many ways to get around DR, but they all depend, again, on the area that you're staying in. So the main airports to fly into are Las Américas Internacional Airport in Santo Domingo and Punta Cana Internacional in Punta Cana. A car rental is secure and it is convenient and it's a very comfortable way to move around and explore the country as a whole. But I wouldn't recommend driving in Santo Domingo. It's very congested. The traffic is kind of bonkers. Uber and Lyft are not available in all parts of the country. So I was hopping in and out of Uber while I was living in Santo Domingo, which was super convenient for me to get around the city. However, ride sharing is not available in Punta Cana. So you do have to arrange transportation in advance. And other parts of the country that offer rideshare are Puerto Plata and Santiago. Santo Domingo also has a metro system, which is the subway that locals use to commute to work. I haven't used it myself. However, it is fairly a new system and it's well maintained. There is a public bus system there. It's another great way to explore the country and travel between cities. Caribe Tours is a reputable bus company in the Dominican Republic. My sister and I hopped on once to get from Punta Cana back to Santo Domingo, and it was super comfortable. They have Wi-Fi on the bus. They even have a little restroom that you can use if you need it. Motos are a real fun way to get around the city, especially the capital. So these motorbikes are popular among the locals because it's super cheap and it's super fast to get to one point of the city to the other. I got on once and it was truly exhilarating. I remember just kind of clenching my fists up against the driver each time that he swerved in between cars in traffic. And every time I thought he wasn't going to fit in between that little wedge, he would squeeze in anyway. So it was just a lot of fun, a memorable experience. I don't know if I would do it again, but I could check it off on my bucket list.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, that's like I love motorbikes so much, but I don't know if you knew that I broke my collarbone on one in Italy
I
because
didn't. No
I
way.
took it upon myself to drive one on my own, and that was a huge mistake. So I definitely think if you're not the most confident driver, be cautious about renting them, but it's so much
Yeah.
fun. That
Oh,
exhilaration of just like swerving in and out of city streets. Oh my God, I
yes.
love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see, walking is not culturally common in the Dominican Republic. However, that didn't stop me from getting around the city on foot. So definitely stick to walking during the day and in groups. Some parts of Santo Domingo, some parts in Punta Cana, Santiago, Puerto Plata, and Samaná are safe for walking. But again, you just have to be aware of your surroundings.
All great tips. Now, my favorite thing about travel is trying the local cuisine, which I know you've touched on a little bit with the tropical fruits and the fresh fish and everything. What staple dishes and drinks should visitors try in Dominican Republic?
Mhm. A Dominican dish that's worth talking about is the traditional breakfast of mashed plantains, pickled onions, fried eggs, fried cheese, fried salami, and avocado slices. This dish is called Los Tres Golpes. It's definitely protein rich. It can feel very heavy, especially if you're not used to eating heavily for in the mornings. I'm not used to eating heavy in the morning, so I like to keep this dish for later in the day, like brunch. It
Hmm.
is the best representation of the Dominican Republic on a plate. I personally love to wash down this dish with morir soñando. It's a very popular and refreshing drink in the Dominican Republic, and it actually translates to die dreaming. So the name is fitting because this drink literally transports you to a taste of pure bliss.
Oh, I love that.
Yes, morir soñando is kind of like an unofficial summer drink of the Dominican Republic. So this classic is a very unique blend of orange juice, evaporated milk, sugar, and ice. It's an unusual combination, but it gives the drink a sweet, creamy, and even frothy touch. So I think that I would compare Morir Soñando to like a dreamsicle if I could compare it to something.
Okay. I
Yeah,
love your description of it. Oh my God, you're
it
making me want
is
to travel there
so,
just to
oh,
try this.
so good, so good. Let's see, another cultural icon in the Dominican Republic is the Presidente beer. It is the most popular beer in the Dominican Republic, and it's associated with Dominican pride. I am not a beer drinker. Like, beer is not my top choice. However, when I am in DR, Presidente is like my go-to choice, especially on hot tropical days. So this beer is like a Pilsner style lager. It's very light in flavor. It's crisp and it's refreshing to drink. I always try to order it like very cold out the freezer that when it comes out of the fridge or the freezer, it frosts up and it's like dressed in white. And that's when it's like perfection.
Oh, it sounds incredible. There's nothing like a crisp beer when it's like a nice, hot, humid day on the beach. Oh,
Oh, it is the
sounds
best.
fantastic.
It is the best. One day, my dad went to pick me up at the airport and he brought me a cold Presidente, and it was like the best welcome home.
Yeah, absolutely. What more could you want when you come home? I love that.
It was awesome. Yeah.
Okay. So we're almost at the end of our episode. Do you have any other tips to know before visiting DR?
Yeah, I think the number one tip is to stay hydrated. The Dominican Republic is on a tropical island, so it's hot and it's humid all year round. So drink plenty of water throughout the day. I do not advise that you drink the tap water in the Dominican Republic. It is not safe to drink. Again, most hotels do provide a couple bottled waters in your room each day. And if you are at an all-inclusive resort and you're consuming, a few rounds of cocktails, then definitely drink more water than usual. Another tip, in addition to packing your swimwear, you should also pack insect repellent. There are a lot of mosquitoes in the Dominican Republic due to its tropical and humid climate. So trust me when I say that you'll be happy that you packed bug repellent. My daughter, for whatever reason, the mosquitoes just loved her. So she was always tore up with bug bites while we were living there.
And Claudicet has a packing list for DR, so everything that you need to know to bring is on that list. You can check that out while you're planning your trip.
Another tip, the Dominican Republic does kind of have an unspoken cultural dress code. It's generally laid back. However, it's important to note that locals do not wear bathing suits openly to restaurants or to shopping destinations. So just throw on a light and comfortable cover up while you're out and about. Dominicans also take a lot of pride in dressing nicely for gatherings with loved ones. So a stylish outfit is kind of like a way to show respect as you enjoy the occasion with your friends and family. So I definitely recommend that you pack like a sharp outfit to wear for dinner at a restaurant.
Very good to know.
Hmm.
So, to wrap up, what is the number one reason or reasons why people should visit Dominican Republic?
Yeah, well, as the saying goes, La República Dominicana lo tiene todo. And the Dominican Republic truly has it all. It has a vibrant and colorful culture. It's deep rooted in history, and you're exposed to it with every turn that you take. So it's in the music, it's in the food, it's in the people. The Dominican Republic has so much natural beauty, stunning beaches, breathtaking mountains, even cave excavations, and refreshing waterfalls. So it's more than just a travel destination. I feel like the Dominican Republic truly is an experience and it just stays with you long after you've left.
It's so nice to get your local insight, and
Mhm.
I want to pack up and plan a trip right now.
Yeah,
I
you
really,
should.
yeah, this it's like
Take me with
not.
you.
Please come visit. You can be my local guide. Yeah, it's like not a place that I ever had like super high on my list because I knew so little about it. So I hope
Mhm.
that, listeners and anybody else who's read your guides just feels the inspiration to go visit now.
Yeah, and to explore, again, DR is a popular place for resorts, but, explore a little bit outside of the resort and kind of immerse yourself in the culture while you're there. I think that you would truly appreciate Dominican Republic a little more that way.
Well, that's all for today. Claudicet, thank you so much for being our Dominican Republic expert today.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
And all of Claudicet's DR articles are linked in the show notes. So you could read more about all of those topics we've discussed in the episode after we wrap up here. And Claudicet doesn't just write about DR, she's also our Boston expert. So if you need some East Coast travel advice,
Mhm.
Claudicet is your girl for that too. Again, we have a full episode on Boston that you can catch on our channel. If you like this episode, we'd be honored for you to like and subscribe to our channel. We're covering amazing destinations around the world all the time, and you don't want to miss a single show. We're posting on Thursdays. Thanks again, Claudicet. It was such a pleasure having you on the TL podcast today.
Thanks so much, Betty.
And thank you, listeners, for being here with us as well. We'll see you next time on the Travel Lemming podcast.